They're great. They're beach, but they do work, but they're shaded.
Good afternoon, East Hampton ARB. You're live on 22 and you are being recorded.
Thank you, LTV, and welcome everyone to the August 24th, 2023 meeting of the Architectural Review Board of the Town of East Hampton. My name is Kathleen Cunningham. It's my privilege to chair this agency. Thank you all for coming out. Our Frank Guittard, our other board member, who's also our architect, is delayed, I guess, but we're going to get started. One of the things I did want to review as we're moving forward today I'm going to be changing the agenda around a little bit for some professional courtesies because Member Benson has to leave early, and Scott Wilson of the Land Use Department here is going to represent an application. So these shouldn't take too long, but I am thankful to all of you who are being patient and waiting for your turns. I want to read a little bit from the code today about the preservation goals for the Amagansett Historic District, which are the requirements that we're meant to be observing as we review applications to promote a harmonious and cohesive character for all of Main Street, maintain and enhance the elements that contribute to the overall setting of the historic houses, open front yards, and traditional fences along the street, maintain the architectural integrity of the historic houses, especially of the front facades and other components visible from the street, allow additions and other changes to rear walls and in appropriate ways to side walls to allow the historic houses to be adapted to changing needs and lifestyles, maintain the architectural integrity of the barns and the integrity of their setting, maintain the architectural integrity of the historic commercial buildings, retain the rural and informal character of the central business district, characterized by a mix of building types, by a significant amount of open space and by spaces between buildings, and to guide redevelopment of non-historic buildings in the central business district to increase compatibility with neighboring historic commercial and residential buildings and with the character of the historic district in general. So thank you for bearing with me on that. I'm going to read more about fences later, but after that, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of August 10th, 2023.
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed and carried. Now, the first application we're going to be looking at is East Hampton Tire, which is actually listed as number 4 on the agenda, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-161-4-2.1. I see Will is here. Will, we're taking you out of order because Diane has to leave early. So, okay, so Diane, if you can just review this for us, please, begin that review. Thank you.
This is an application, but I would say for a much-needed sign for the East Hampton Tire Center. It is just east of El Turco, which we're all very familiar where that is. And there is the picture that they took of it. But whenever I've been by it, it is swarmed with cars, and they need this sign, I think, desperately. The application calls for a sign 110 inches long and 24 inches high, and which is a little over 18 square feet, which is perfectly in the parameters. I'm wondering, when you go, this is what it looks like usually with all these cars and things. So when you're coming from East Hampton, when you're going east, you see the first building, and where they plan to put the sign, you don't see that sign. You only see that sign if you're approaching from the east. So I don't know, they have a few more square feet. I'm not sure if that green sign counts as a sign, because it doesn't.
I don't think so. It's a state. I think it's a
So
state.
you're thinking, considering right here.
It seems to me that a sign on this over the doorway or somewhere, maybe an additional sign, because you're allowed 32 square feet.
Right. Well, that's
Good suggestion.
That's a good suggestion. They can take that under advisement. What do you think about the design?
I think it suits the building, and
you okay with the red?
Yeah, I mean,
It'll tone down.
Yeah, it won't be as punchy probably, right?
Yeah, it's just the way that renders for some reason with
those
the
dimensions
gradient.
that you see there are not the correct dimensions.
Right?
The
Right.
correct
So it
dimensions
is 110?
It is 110 by 24. This is So it's longer and narrower.
Believe this is correct, yeah.
Oh, so the rendering is correct, 96?
I called and I was told that the application was correct.
Okay,
Dan
I'm not
got
certain.
different information. Dan, you want to share the information you got?
Yes, so yeah, I emailed,
Bring it closer. Closer.
It was an echo. I don't know
Closer to
why.
your mouth.
No, I don't think he needs to do that.
oh, closer to me. I'm sorry, I thought,
Yeah, it's on the
The
computer.
mic on the computer needs to be turned off, I think.
Oh, that's why you can hear everybody so well.
I guess. We just clarified this in the last day or so.
Right.
oh, that works. Okay, I apologize. Well, yes, so I emailed, I think it was Ocean Graphics, was the agent, and they told us that this was the
Yeah,
correct
the 30 by
dimensions?
96 is the correct.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, well then I was given, okay.
Okay.
Well, I think that, I think this is what's depicted in your rendering
Right.
on the
I
building.
think the other measurements, the confusion was is that he had changed what was on it, so we had to reconfigure the sign at one point, and then this got put on there.
I think this still turns out to be 18 square feet.
Is that there?
96 by 3.
8 times what?
Anyway, it's, if I were them, I would put an additional sign on the other building, but
Something smaller,
Yeah, that's 20 square feet on the nose, actually, that one.
20.
20 square feet on the nose.
20 square.
Okay, so you have
You have 12 more square
have-
feet.
12 square feet. I mean, I would advocate another sign, a sign on the,
I'm not sure what their usage is of the other part of the building,
Right.
oh,
so that might be why.
Yeah.
oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it's
not
something
certain.
we can advise them that we'd be willing to approve, that they're
Yeah.
under their signage capacity. But I think right now we'll just,
But I think all in all, I mean, I think that as that is presented, I think it's fine. So unless there's
Okay.
any,
how about
Any
you,
more
Chip? Are you okay
questions?
with it?
Fine with it.
Mooney?
That's
Sorry,
Yeah.
Esmeralda.
Just a question, is the background, it's sort of like like a wood grain or a
I've got a
silvery
sample,
gray?
actually, if you
Oh,
wanna see
great.
it.
here are the, here
Oh,
here are
look
the
at that.
I
actual.
thought it was a
Okay.
silver, that's why it was,
Yeah.
it was neat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
here,
another location, similar format.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay,
here's a,
yeah.
oh, it's sort of nice,
Okay.
actually, for a tire center.
Okay. Well, do
So
you want to
I'd
make a
like to make a
motion?
motion that we accept this application as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Passed and carried. Thank you, Will.
you.
Onward. Now, I just quickly want to do one. Oh, I have to wait for Frank for this because I want the full board. This is such a crazy day. Okay, so we're going to also just jump up to Feathertop Farm. Scott, we're going to get you out of here quickly. I appreciate you coming in. This is number 7 on the ag overlay on your agenda, which is, oh my Lord, Suffolk County Tax Net numbers 300-159-2-1.3, comma, 1.4, comma, 1.5, comma, 2, 4.1, comma, 5, comma, 1.6, 186, 190, 192, 194, and 196. It's a lot of land. It's at 198 Cedar Street, and this is for an deer fence on an agricultural overlay property. So Chip will talk, and then if we have any questions, if you can just answer those. Chip
happy to do
Scott is doing us a professional courtesy to represent the town on this application because their regular representative is out of town.
So this is an application to enclose a 12.4 acre agricultural reserve on Cedar Street, just before the Roman Catholic Cemetery coming from town. They would like to enclose it, this 12.4 acre plot, with 2,340 linear feet of deer fencing. Applicant leases the land from the town and would grow crops. The fence would keep the deer out, which have become a problem. Fence would be a standard agricultural deer fence, 8 feet high, attached to a 5 to 6 inch round southern yellow pine post, spread 18 to 20 feet apart. A single black wire would run above the fence at 9 feet high, a foot above the fence, to keep the deer from jumping over it. At the driveway, there would be a 20-foot wide gate, which would be comprised of two 10-foot sections. This is mostly open farmland with a 30-foot conservation easement on half of the property facing Cedar Street, and that's the half closest to the cemetery. That part is highly vegetated, and the fence would be set behind this easement about 45 feet from the property line. For the other half of the property facing Cedar Street, which is open and field, the fence would be set back 25 feet from the property line. On the eastern side, closest to town, the fence would run along the property line. On the western side, which is the cemetery side, it would be set back from the property line and sort of an irregular pattern up to 25 feet. No fencing will be needed across the back of the property, as it is already fenced by Longhouse, which butts this property. This is a win-win for all, preserving farmland and keeping it as an open vista. Scott, if you'd like to add anything I missed, please do.
I don't think you missed anything. I think that town, well, I mean, I don't know if you were here in the 60s, but we're looking at all of the older photographs, the town board was pretty excited to basically have an opportunity to return a property that was in active production back to active production. We went through an RFP process, and Feathertop Farm happened to be the winner of that RFP. As part of their application, they explained in detail the additional structures they might need, and that included an agricultural deer fence. And I think the town board in particular has got a vested interest in ensuring the success of this farm. And so I'm pretty hopeful that you might consider approving this fence.
So we look fondly on agricultural fences on land that's in production. So that's the use. That's what it's meant to be used for. It's exciting to know that it'll be returned to production. That's good news.
So just to give people a sense of how much this land costs, is it correct that it was $10 million in 2022? Yeah, so for 12 acres. So it's very valuable land.
And also prime agricultural soil that will yield really wonderful food for us. So anyway, does anybody have any questions for Chip or Scott? No. Okay. You want to make a motion?
Sure, I make a motion to approve this application as submitted.
I may have a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Okay, good luck, and good luck to Feathertop. Okay, now that Member Guittard is here, I want to just offer this motion to revoke an ARB approval that we made on August 10th for 2 Old House Road. On August 10th, the ARB voted to approve the application of 2 Old House Road for extensive renovations and some expansion of the square footage. The board subsequently became aware of material inconsistencies contained in the applicant's approved building plans with respect to the size, gross floor area of the proposed residence. Therefore, pursuant to East Hampton Town Code sections 255-7-100 and section 255-9-2, I now make a motion to revoke the approval given on August 10th to, I need the applicant's name.
Oh, it's Old House.
It's just 2 Old House Lane. Okay, 2 Old House Lane. Okay, that's what I said earlier, but I thought in this instance I actually needed the name. So may I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's a unanimous vote. Thank you. Okay, now we are going to come careening back to item 1. And thank you, Mark, for your patience, and Joe. Okay, so Rowdy Hall, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-171-1-14, 177 Main Street in Amagansett. So this one is mine. We had a presentation last time by,
2 times ago.
was it? I thought, no, I think it was, wasn't it August 10th? I thought, no, it was 2 meetings ago.
Prior to that.
Oh,
I
okay,
was
sorry.
there,
Yeah, you're right, July 27th, you're right. Anyhow, for some renovations to the building. Originally, we thought it was just an application for a sign, but Rowdy, as we all know and are excited to learn, is moving to Amagansett. And the board reviewed the proposed color scheme for the exterior improvements. And we sent a letter, a follow-up letter on August 3rd, making some suggestions about color changes and so forth. And this is the more recent submission, which brings down the color palette to 2 colors. I know that this is to my mind, it's a branding decision here to keep the black and gold. I think they took our advice to remove the red, which we asked them to consider doing. And they narrowed the trim around those little inlays on the beneath the windows so that it didn't pop so much. It is a black building with gold trim, and the what do you call those heads? They're little emblems.
The rowdy heads?
Where on the signage?
Rowdy heads, yeah.
The rowdy heads.
The rowdy heads.
You know.
Yeah, Rowdy Heads and Rowdy Hall. So I think that this one is fine. The problem I'm having, I guess, and maybe we can just talk about this a little bit, because last time, Mark, Christy and Joe said that you wanted to paint the sidewall black too,
Well,
because we've gotten
before we
some,
go there for a second.
Yeah.
I'd like to revisit the front because,
Sure.
you know, as much as I respect your opinions, and we also feel that red as an element is something that we'd like to consider. And in fact, one of the old pictures of Indian Wells Tavern,
Mhm.
in fact, had as much red as we had in our original one. The difference being where we, on this photo that you're looking at on the screen, where it looks like it's natural wood, the only difference in our side is that it's black, painted black. So we'd like to consider, or have you consider, I should say, an element of red. In our first presentation, we gave 2 or 3 options, you know, one being very similar to this in terms of the sign being red and the majority of it being red. And then there was, I think, 2 or 3 other renditions where it was just the mullins around the windows, or it was just the door. But we feel pretty strongly that that would be an element that we would hope you would consider, with the one that you had requested, being the 2 color. So do you have the original ones we submitted on?
Whoops. Here we go.
Can I?
Right. He'll pull it up, Mark. Yeah, there we go.
So that's one of them.
Mhm.
There's one just with the,
Right, with the doors, I think,
Right.
yeah.
This is the one I have digitally, it's just the.
okay.
You don't have all of the photos from the previous application?
Digitally, I just have this one submitted.
How is that possible?
Within it?
Looks so pink.
It should be, it was part of the original application.
For your request, the sample board with the.
Yes,
We have that.
we've got that. Yep, thank you. That was helpful. I think, yeah, I don't even have the.
Yeah, we want to look at all the photos that were submitted. Renderings, different renderings.
So I think part of the problem with the red is that this, the red on the red in your submission doesn't look like this red, you
Okay,
know?
but that's the red it would
I
be.
understand, but I'm just saying, as a visual, I think people are having trouble, you know, making that connection. Hopefully, we can get something pulled up soon that'll show us that. Again, because I think that was a little bit of the,
Oh, no.
That's the current building. Yeah, all I have is the current.
oh, I cannot believe
So
this.
for purposes, I mean, if you,
Yeah,
submitted this.
right.
Screen.
No,
No.
no, that's just where the red is framing the doors. Yeah. And then you had with the whole door red. Yeah, just the doors. Yeah.
And then obviously.
Yeah.
which is that one right there, which is on the,
That's the one that's on the screen, yeah.
and then the other one was, where the routing wall was red
Right,
inside of those frames.
those panels
Yeah,
beneath, yeah,
red.
right,
So it was predominantly red and the accents were black and gold.
Right.
versus Now what we're saying is addressing, hopefully your request of two colors, but
Right.
just making the red as an accent in
Yeah.
a limited.
So
sort of
I'm
way.
sorry, you're saying predominantly red, but I would say this is predominantly black.
no,
with
he
red
meant,
accents.
he was talking about something you cannot see now that was
No, but
predominantly
none of
red.
them were really that predominantly red. It was mainly the black building.
Right, but if
with
you look
red
at, see where the
accents.
Rowdy Hall is now? That black and the 6 panels beneath were also proposed to be red.
I remember, but
Yeah.
it was still a whole black building.
I
Okay.
think that's,
I think
that's the issue.
Yeah. It's that contrast also of the, it's
Yeah.
the black building, but it's also the contrast, yeah.
Right, so, okay, I'm really at a loss that we don't have a photograph of this.
You mean a rendering or a photograph of what it is
Well,
now?
we have the photograph of what is now, but the rendering is really what I,
Okay, what he has is what is all we have.
Okay,
We have the existing and the proposed, which is online there.
here it is.
but we had those last time too, didn't we?
I don't remember seeing
I
that.
don't, no, we don't have
Yeah.
that.
I don't remember seeing that. That's why I'm saying I don't remember there being that much red.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
You know, I think maybe you guys brought those to the meeting and it just didn't make it electronically into the file. That's probably what happened.
But this is
Yeah.
the first.
Yeah, I get it, but that's not how, what our,
My submission.
I don't have that in my packet either.
Well,
But anyway,
in any
that's,
case-
that's one of the things you're asking for us to consider.
Not this one.
Right,
I mean, but
yes,
I offer this up
right.
with the Indian Wells one as a comparison.
I get it.
Of what the board had approved at some point.
Right.
But I
Right.
think the Indian Wells one, because it was a natural sort of a wood front, you know, it's very different than a
And we have
black.
another,
He doesn't mean that one. He's talking about, can you bring up the Indian Wells photo that you do have?
The first
The
one.
old one, Dan, please, yes. It's got, it says Indian Wells Tavern, not that one, there's
That's the
another
from
one.
the Amagansett.
That's when it was all oak.
Yeah,
There, that's the one that Mark is saying, it was
Yes,
once like that color.
it was also once all natural.
Yeah, oak.
Correct, right,
And it all peeled off, yes.
right.
I mean, we struggled with the Indian Wells
Is
coloring
that right?
many, many meetings.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
we only compromised on this because it just went on and on and on. But we were not enthusiastic about what's there now. I'll say that. It was
What's there, you mean,
The
what
Main
is
Street
currently on the
Tavern.
building, the way the building looks today. We were not,
really?
yes, that was a compromise that went on for several meetings. And I think we finally just got tired of hearing about it. But
Okay, well, I wasn't aware of that, but in any case,
but
I think Mark is trying to make the point that this board approved at one point in time red. There can't be pink on those doors, am I just, is that just gotta
no,
be?
no, it's just, that's.
These
that's not the
renderings are
point.
enough to make your eyes
What I am
cross.
hoping for is a compromise.
Yeah.
In terms of acknowledging what you had requested, the two
Mhm,
color,
mhm.
but just maybe,
The doors,
yeah, the
Yeah.
doors or.
yeah. I'm amenable to having the doors being this darker red. It's helpful to me to have a visual so I can see what it looks like, but I think it kind of breaks up the black a little bit. You know, because I think I get the branding concept of, and the way that Rowdy looks now, it's all black and it's got the gold lettering.
But it's in a completely different place.
100%, but I'm just acknowledging that that's their brand
Yeah.
and that they're trying to transfer their brand to this hamlet, which is in a completely different place. It's why I read from the historic Amagansett Historic District guidelines when we started, because we're in a different, it's a different set of circumstances here that we have to, different set of criteria that we have to use in order to properly evaluate this. Okay, let's move this one off the screen. I'm finding it,
And in terms of
Painful.
the side of the building.
yeah. Oh, that's much better.
We will, we would.
Yeah.
Propose to use this,
Yeah, I like that much better.
so you guys can.
That'd be great. Yeah, okay.
that's a paint finish?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's much better.
I missed the initial meeting. I was away in July. I mean, this strikes me more as a London pub kind of coloring. It's going to be bright.
Yeah, this
and
is not,
grassy.
this is something historically that goes back to,
But not historic for this town, but historic for maybe England or Scotland or Ireland. But
the roots of,
right, but that's not where we live.
I hear
We live here now. I'm kind of
We live here
astonished
now.
at this. It has nothing to do with the historic district of Amagansett. I walked the street 2 days ago. It's all white and red brick. I mean, this thing is going to pop out like, like you cannot believe. Maybe your point, so it attracts attention to it, but I don't see how this fits in with an historic district.
I mean, I get you're trying to, keep your branding colors, but don't know how to say this kind of diplomatically. It's not our job to accommodate the brand. It's, we have to look out for the context of what fits on Main Street. And it just seems to me that what we've seen over this meeting and the last one, I'm hearing that it's not.
back with an edict that this is direction you should go. So, I mean, now
we
we're
did ask
saying
you,
that.
we did ask you to modify it to 2 colors.
And I totally appreciate your job, but there's also an element of, 5 people can have 5 different opinions about what color combinations would look good. And so, it's not a code thing in the sense that I'm asking for an 8-foot fence and a.
No, I understand.
Property.
No,
There's a subjective aspect.
That's
to this.
exactly right. And
I live in this community. This is, it's my business, yes.
Mhm.
But I appreciate your job and your sensitivity, and I would never submit something that I thought was
right.
not in keeping with the spirit of the village. That being said, we felt strongly about those other colors. You guys felt that it was not necessarily appropriate for that district. You asked us to go and consider doing 2 colors, the 2 colors being black and gold. We've come back with what you've requested, and my only ask was that maybe we would be able to interject some of the red as an accent color towards the doors. You feel that that's not good? I guess that's ultimately your decision. But to stand here now, 8 weeks later, all right, or 5 weeks later, and say, the black and gold isn't even really in keeping.
I think I posed the same pause with regard to the black, even though I always say that black recedes, but I do think that this is a different context. First of all, from the village of East Hampton, it's a larger facade, and the surrounding buildings are all white. So in this case, it's actually
the nail salon that's next to this. You want to talk about, and this is no disparaging on their business, but in terms of the signage.
We've just dealt with them recently, so that's what we're trying to correct that. And so I wanted to say also that we've had this kind of application in the past where there was a building that was not a historic building that came before us, wanted to be like all red, green, and white or whatever it was, and we asked that they limit that, and they did. And because theirs was an issue of branding as well. Now that business is not even any longer there. So I guess my point is it's not a surprise that you still have people who are
Uncomfortable with it.
Yes, uncomfortable with the black. Because we did discuss this in the other meeting.
At the last meeting to get rid of the black. I mean, you did make some comment that you weren't crazy about it, but you asked us to go back and revisit.
Would you have been willing to not use the black?
What's that?
Would you have been willing had we asked?
I don't know that willing.
Well, that's why I think we probably we're trying to work with you.
Exactly.
And we are.
In terms of coming back with.
Understood. I maintain that I think the black is too strong.
And in that spirit, we've also taken the black out of the whole side of the building. So,
Yeah,
Which I think we all appreciate.
yeah, we,
Sure. I mean,
you know, I want to work with you, you know,
Yeah,
like
of
I
course.
said.
we know that, Mark.
listen,
Yeah.
I think this is going in the right, my impression, this seems to be going in the right direction to the board. This, and the consensus, and I think we spoke for all, was that there was just too much going on in the last scheme, too much contrast, too many colors. So this is less, there's less contrast, there are two colors. My question would be, could you achieve that concept instead of black with something like a muted dark green, you think, that might not be such a contrast to the main street of black?
I appreciate, and I know you're an architect, and I appreciate all that, but in my mind.
I'm not a branding guy, so.
No, well, and you know what? Truthfully, I guess subliminally, that might have been our reasons for going. It wasn't a conscious conversation in terms of, okay, these are the colors we want to do because we want to brand this. It's just the way it's been for 26 years.
Right. Yeah, but
That being said, in my mind, the dark green, I mean, anything other than a shade of white on that main street is going to contrast.
I agree.
I
Would you
actually-
consider white?
Actually, I kind of like I want to say that I like it now. I kind of actually think that like having a pub is in some muted color is not a bad thing on a main street. It's actually like there is a role for a pub in a community. That's a very personal, subjective decision, or opinion,
Well,
but
it's pretty widely held.
you know, personally, I'm not against having a different color. You know, I think that right now it's a different color. It's pretty muted, but I don't mind it.
right now it's a different color. I see what you're saying. Because it's that dark green, right? Can we look at the present color now, please?
It's sort of a muddy green.
In that,
Oh,
yeah.
you mean the existing?
The
color.
existing
The
building.
existing
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I was
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying is great.
Right.
Yeah.
But
No,
it
but
doesn't bother me.
it does fit into it has many colors, but it does fit if you look at a picture of the entire streetscape.
Well, that's
It fits-
because it has the white accents. I think the white accents is what unifies it with the other white buildings. That's
like
why.
Lighter, I don't know.
Whatever it is, the
taupey or
lighter.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the color is, but it's not all, you know what I'm saying? It's those accent pieces that help it to blend into the
You know, I got it.
neighboring buildings.
I think it's totally subjective, all right? Because in this one, that whole header is black, the windows are all black, around the framing where we are asking for gold is all black, and the rest of it is then contrasting. And white is probably the least color on that. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is subjective, Mark. That's part of what makes our job so hard, is we're trying to address the needs of applicants. And, you know, I hear everything you're saying, you know, and right. And I appreciate that you responded to the black wall concept, you know, with this newer color. But I think what you're hearing is that the entire building being so dark with just the gold accents, which as a piece, I think looks nice. But as it fits into the district, the feedback is it's not working with the other buildings. And I think that's where we're pushing against this. Now, I was not on the board when this present configuration of Main Street Tavern was approved, but every time I've been driving by it a lot myself, and I keep looking at it, and I thought, oh, there's 3 colors there. We told them 2 colors. You know, I get that there's a.
And look at the original, I mean, one of the iterations of Indian Wells Tavern.
Right. I mean, you know, back when it was McHenry's, it was kind of a.
Yeah, well, I was going to bring
a
that
whole
up,
different
but-
thing. Yeah, I get it.
I would just point out that the goal is to, for a non-historic commercial building on Union Street, the town code says that the goal is to increase the compatibility with neighboring historic commercial and residential buildings. So the paint of most of the historic commercial buildings is either natural wood shingles or white painted exterior, predominant among the commercial buildings. So the board is charged with making alterations of non-historic commercial buildings more compatible with the historic commercial buildings on Main Street. I think that's really what you have to figure out, is if you think that the black is more compatible than what's there now, or if that's more in keeping with the historic district.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah.
I would say it's an opportunity to make it more compatible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
A bad compromise.
I mean, whether it was a good or bad compromise, it's what exists, and the applicants are, understandably using this as a touchstone. What did you say?
My point and advice to the board is you just don't want to make it
less compatible.
We don't want to make it worse. Yeah, we don't make it less compatible. Okay.
I mean, there is color on Main Street. There is Candy Crush as an orange and a teal door. We've approved awnings that are.
No, I don't think we ever did.
We approved. I believe we approved two colorful awnings down the street
for El
Buco, as well as the pizza parlor.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's an absence of color on Main Street. It's not
right.
Well,
I was going to say the red. I don't object to the red. I think the red kind of softens the black, and that maybe. And I think part of where we went off track with the red the last time is just the way the rendering showed on the photograph, because I think the red in here is, that looks much better to me. How do people feel about that? Introducing red into the mix.
I just don't find this contextual to Main Street at all.
I agree.
Okay. Frank?
Well, I don't want to play designer. I don't want to tell them what color scheme to do and then come back to it. I would prefer just to say, this is sort of the feedback of the board. Maybe come up with something a little more muted. And maybe just come. Maybe come.
Main Street.
No,
I mean, that's what you're essentially saying. Everything on Main Street should be white.
It is.
Well, it's.
Everything is not.
It's not all white, but the idea is to have it sort of.
All. I said predominant.
I understand. I'm just talking to Mark. Diane, what is your sense?
I mean, I like the idea of it being rowdy, I mean, rowdy has a place in our community. But because you're moving from East Hampton so the idea of branding and having them look alike, I mean, the other one won't exist anymore. So I don't know. I think maybe the black is a little harsh. And I think that idea of dark burgundy or dark green or one of those real pub sort of colors might be easier to.
Probably traditional 3 pub colors in the world. Seriously.
I agree. I have no problem with it isolated from the rest of the. But I am agreeing, because I think that's how I feel. I like it. Not this one, the one you've presented today.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very elegant. But when I look at it within the streetscape, I don't think it's, as Chip used the word, contextual. And I think that's what we've been reading in the code, and Kathy's read it. Now our council has read it.
So what is contextual?
It fits in. It easily fits in.
Harmonizes.
What colors would that be in your mind?
The colors that are there.
Well,
a lighter palette is.
I think a lighter palette is the better direction. A lighter color palette.
And there are white pubs with black.
This is time and money. And we've tried to follow the direction of the board. I don't do this. I have to pay somebody to do
I understand.
Mark, I wasn't here, so this is all new to me.
Listen, I'm sorry that I'm expressing a frustration, but as an applicant,
I understand.
Follow all the rules.
Of course you do.
I address what it was written to me in the incomplete documentation, and now we come 2 weeks later and find out, well, what we told you was really not really what we want either.
Okay, well, part of the problem with this process is that, we'll ask you to submit an updated version. And that is either going to work or it's not going to work. It doesn't mean that because we've asked for an updated version that that's exactly what we think is going to happen.
No, but a clear vision direction would be kind of nice. And the direction that you gave to me the last time I was here was to take it down to 2 colors, to get rid of the red. And that's essentially what we did.
No, I understand that. I understand that.
We didn't say, let's get rid of the black completely.
Right. I understand that. I'm one voice on this board. But the basic, what I'm hearing my board members say is the color palette is, you gotta lighten it up a little bit. I wish we had thought of this the last time.
What we feel is a lightened palette to be told that really it's not light enough, or we'd like it,
It's a subjective,
I'm trying.
I understand. It's a subjective process, and I understand that that's frustrating. And I'm sorry that that's the way it works, unfortunately. It's just the way it works. I can't change these rules, We're supposed to be making sure that new buildings, new treatments are contextual, that fit in with the
Surrounding.
the streetscape.
Fire building doesn't fit in, but we weren't really, we did it because, I forget why it was approved.
It went on for 5 times the number of
That's
meetings.
not relevant to this discussion. I think we need to,
Approved.
I understand
It
that.
was approved.
I understand that, but that's
Well, it's only relevant, Kathleen, insofar as it set a precedent.
I get it.
And if it was never approved, then everything, the history of this commercial building was that it was always a shade of white.
Mhm.
I get it.
Mhm.
But if you look at the history of this building, it's been a multitude of things. And I understand what you're saying. Well, now is an opportunity for us to bring it back into what it should be.
Okay.
I mean, I do think, to Mark's point, that I will agree a bit that it is a very subjective thing about what is contextual. And I don't support that everything on Main Street needs to be whitewashed, that everything needs to be uniform in color. So what I'm hearing is that I think there are actually, the problem with us giving you direction is that I think there are some differing opinions on this. Not everybody has the exact same opinion. It is very subjective. So
An applicant, it just makes it really hard.
well, we are a board of 5 people. Kathy talked about this. I think she already has, but we are a board of 5 people and 5 votes. And but I think as presented here, that my concern about the last one was the black on the side of the building. So I appreciate that.
Which we addressed
Exactly.
like
Yeah,
immediately.
me too. Yeah. And we thank you for that.
So
I want to be a good neighbor.
We know that about you, Mark. We understand. You are a good neighbor. You're a good contributing
mine is
member of
one
the
voice,
community, but
I'll
it's
also
not
say
how
that I'm
we
not sure
evaluate
I'm
these
not sure that
things.
making this white with some trim is going to be an improvement.
Like this, you mean the color that's on the side?
I'm just not convinced that just a white building is, why does everything have to be white?
I don't think it has to be white. I just,
It does not have to be white.
No.
it doesn't have to be
Could be
white.
beige, it could be gray, light gray, something that's,
There, because that's.
Right. I'm on the board, I'm on the page that this is less contextual than what is there now, but
You to follow the code, you want to improve a design that increases the compatibility and harmony with the historic commercial property. So
I don't think it has to be white or off-white to be
I don't
compatible.
think that it does either.
I don't think anybody's saying that. I think that
I just want to make that clear for the applicant.
yeah, I think Mark understands that. I think they just thought we were okay with the black, and turns out we're not. So,
Reason to think other.
yeah, I get it.
I would be comfortable with this scheme if it was just more muted, if it wasn't
How
like
could
beige
you
or white.
mute
The
it?
background
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
would be, like, as Diane mentioned, like something that's like a muted dark, like muted green or something instead of black.
Oh,
as a
oh.
background.
No, I think we're splitting hairs. If I put a dark green up there away from you and a black up there.
I agree.
I agree with you.
I agree. You might as well just keep the
And
black.
this is,
Well, isn't there some way to, see, this is where I thought the red would break it up a little bit. Okay, well, I don't think we're, why don't I just meet with you and we can try to pull something together, because I'm the applicant, I'm the committee on this one, and I'll try to help you along with this color scheme a little bit, because I don't think we're not gonna be able to get through this tonight. The board is not going to approve this tonight. So let's see if we can't come back with a better, something that's more contextual. It's not better or worse. This is, like I said to begin with, I think this looks really nice. It's just contextually a little out of place. Okay, we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay, next up is item number 2 on the agenda, Amagansett Dunes, Unit 210, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-190-2-16. Frank, this is yours. Is Mr. Savarese here? Yes, he is. Okay.
Okay, can you bring up, I sent a PDF this morning with 2 satellite images. Google Earth images, it will help. Okay. So this is Amagansett Dunes, Indian Wells Beach is up on the left. This is on Bluff Road in Amagansett. Next page, please. So this is an application to add skylights at the roof of Amagansett Dunes, a residential complex on Bluff Road. We received an application back in November, and just like this, but it was mirrored, and we approved it. This is for a unit on the east side of the complex that faces the house on Bluff Road. You can see it there, right next to the east wing. The drawings state that there will be 3 new Velux skylights, but I'm not sure if these are all new skylights or some that are replacing ones that are already there. The proposed skylight or skylights are to match the other skylights on the roof, of which there are many. I see no reason why we should not approve this application as presented, particularly as we approved basically the exact same application on the opposite wing of the building. This is hardly visible from Bluff Road, and it appears this will match the other skylights in the building of this type. Does Mr. Savarese want to add anything?
No.
Do we want to go through the drawings?
That's it.
Okay. How many new skylights are there as opposed to like replacing in kind?
For this unit, there are 3. The one that faces the courtyard, they require it being a specific size, so they all look the same. The other 2, which are on this side, which can't be seen, there's a smaller one. There are 2 different sizes, but the one that the management company in Ocean Dunes is concerned about is the one facing the courtyard. And that's the one that has to match, just as it did in the original, the older application.
So you're replacing one and installing 2 new ones? You're adding one? Okay, so they're all brand new?
They're creating a loft.
Okay, they're all brand new. I thought they were replacing them.
So the 3 new
3 brand
punched
new.
openings in the roof.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought it was
So there are 3 total, though. I have that.
There are always 3, but I wasn't clear if there were any existing ones. But they're all going to be new framed out skylights. So.
Okay.
I see does anybody have any questions? I don't see any issues with this. It's exactly what we approved, but the drawings are exactly what are on the other unit 223. They're just mirrored.
Okay. Do you want, anybody have any questions for Frank or Mr. Savarese?
Nope.
Okay. You want to make a motion, Frank?
So I make a motion to approve this application as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next up is The Cookery, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-162-1-12.1. And I see Ms. Sestito is here. You don't have to stand up for the moment if you want.
Oh, my gosh.
I know you're struggling there, so, oh, please, this is too much for me. Oddly. We're a right pair. Excuse me. Okay. So this one is mine. We had this on our last agenda, and we, for some reason or another, could not find any of the elevations. And they have since resurfaced, which I'm relieved to report. But I did call you earlier in the week because one of the problems that we're having is that we have two sets of plans from you, and they have, there are pretty profound differences between them. The most recent set of plans that was submitted does not indicate the handicapped access door that's on the north side of the building.
This is what the building looks like now.
Right.
That's what this is. That's not the proposed.
Right. So
you have,
so
I'm not clear. Okay, this is what we're proposing.
Okay. Okay. Does that jive with your understanding of this, Dan? Because I know you reviewed these plans pretty carefully for us.
Yeah, so we were just, I guess we needed clarification in terms of which was, because we thought this has a later date, the ones without it.
It has a what?
A later date. So this was submitted to the planning board after.
Well, somebody must have asked for something that made us show you the originals of what the building looked like.
Okay.
And then what the proposal was.
Okay.
So that's all I can figure why you have the original, that said, which I don't even know why you have it, but somebody must have asked for it because I wouldn't have put it in there. Yeah. I wouldn't have submitted it, because it's just what the original building, and then from there,
right,
the proposal.
Okay.
Okay, so some of the other questions we had, though, I think were about some of the details on the windows, which seem to change from the two sets of plans too, is that right?
Yeah, can I also say something?
Yeah.
I'm confused too, because the windows changed on the next iteration that we had. So these windows.
These are not even current?
This is not current. Now, I went and had 10 copies made of the current one, and I didn't bring it because my contractor has them, and he thought we weren't doing this. So I was going to drop them off this week.
Okay.
Because I didn't know you'd found these.
Right.
So what you have is a lot of probably, as we went along with the site planning people and everybody else.
Made some changes.
We made changes.
Right, okay, well, we'll need
I'm happy to drop that off.
Let's do, because.
I wish I had them on me right now.
Right, well, we wouldn't be able to evaluate it here at this.
I don't know why.
And the file, any other recent plans? Because that was what was shown last week, and I was told that was not accurate.
Yeah,
And we had to take stuff out.
and then you also have more recently, in a month ago, or I think it was about a month, I can't remember, sometime in July, I dropped off. Right, and that was also showed the new site plan and the parking. I mean what do you call it, guys? The
handicap.
Handicap.
Yes.
Like I'm feeling right now.
Right.
So we put those. We put that in with you guys, so you could see that we did that per the fire marshal and everybody else.
Right.
So we had that done, and originally you guys, I know, you guys had asked us to remove some, or was it you or the site?
It would have been planning board, because we didn't really.
Yeah, it must have been the planning board.
It had to be planning board.
They're the ones that we kept having to make changes.
Right, exactly.
Somehow you have this old one, and I don't know.
Okay.
The only one that I have that says June 20th, that's the one that he had up, and it doesn't show any tour.
Okay.
I have no idea what you got that.
Right, okay, so that's part of what, I think what we should do is just bring the plans in and we'll start over, okay? But we'll get it figured, we'll get it sorted, we'll get you on the next meeting, and we'll get this done, because we can't make an evaluation on something that we don't have, so.
Confused as to.
Yeah. Yeah, so as we've been to. So I think we can, we just unify this, if you can drop off those plans.
Yeah.
And then maybe you and I can sit with them for a little bit. We'll make a meeting and we'll go over it and make sure everything is where it should be.
Ready to go.
And that way, when we bring you here again, because my basic sense is, pardon?
Because we love seeing you.
Well, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
help you.
No, but that way, because my general sense is that most of this is going to be just fine, but I can't say that
No,
without, I
I
need the
totally get it.
details, yeah.
When you had told me that you had, I said, oh, great, then they've got everything. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there with the 10, I said to Peter, I said, just keep the plans, you know. and
Right.
I
Okay.
said, I don't know what I'm going to do with 10 extra plans that I just had to, now I
Right.
know, I can bring them back.
Right, we need them. Sorry.
I need them digitally as well.
Yes, well, Julie will scan them too, I think, so anyway, all right.
All right. so
That's good. Yes, that's what we'll do. Well, I'll make an appointment with you. You'll bring the things in. We'll go over it and then we'll get this
Great.
done once and for all. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks very much.
Today.
What's that? Oh,
That we were choosing.
oh,
Not coming back.
oh, no. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Well, it's just when we saw that the plans weren't correct, we thought, well, what are we going to be looking at even? Anyway, good luck with your leg. Okay, thank you. All right, we're on number 5, I think. Did we get through the first page here properly? I think finally, right? So Roland Ryan Davis, Suffolk County Tax Note number 300-63-2-14.5. This is for a fence. Hello, Mr. Davis. How are you?
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you've read in everything already?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
I got-
so thank you for responding to our letter of following up our meeting last time. And you made a very thorough presentation. It's really much appreciated because it makes my job much easier. You've submitted a survey, a new survey with the proposed fencing, deck, and driveway, which is visible here in the renderings. These are renderings that you also submitted, which were also helpful. Because what you are now proposing, if you all recall last time, this was a proposal for 8-foot white vinyl fencing to screen, this is a pool area on this side, and then there would be another section on the other side of the house. What you're proposing now is actually 8-foot wire fencing, deer fencing, which is, both sides would just be just forward of the house a bit, and that would be to screen the pool deck and close off the other side, to enclose the rear yard, basically, and then plant with the trees. One thing I wasn't clear on, you're planting trees on both sides, or is that just for this side that you're proposing?
I was just thinking about doing it on this side.
Okay, so the other side would...
Pretty dark, and I'm not really sure if they'll maybe not necessarily grow quite properly, but I could.
Okay, so I did not go in, when I was there the last time, I did not go in to really see the other side. It's hard really to see from this street because this is, as you now indicated, that reserve is like 100 feet, right? So it's fairly set back. And then the service gate, which is visible here, was also originally proposed to match with the vinyl white fencing, but you're proposing it now to be left, to be a wood, left natural. And as you see, the design is what you're indicating, this is the design. Okay. Two questions I have. I think you indicated your neighbors have 8-foot fencing. Does that enclose your rear yard without you having to, because you're not proposing any other fencing except for these two sides?
Oh, no, the rear yard also is on the back of the plan for the fence. Yeah, so the neighbor's 8-foot fencing goes on either side of me, to the left and
Just
to
on
the
the
right and their
sides.
fronts.
Okay.
And I assume in their back, I haven't actually walked back there to look, but I was suggesting that the back bit also here has the same fencing.
Okay, that wasn't.
Otherwise, if it's just one-sided, then they can still come into the pool because they can come in from the back.
Right, no, that's why I'm asking, because it's not indicated on the survey, and I didn't recall it being part of your application. I wasn't sure. It was really, we were focusing on the fencing in the front.
Should have been in the original description.
Okay, let me see. Let me get to that as well. Oh, yes, okay, yes, 185 linear feet of 8-foot deer fencing in the rear also. Okay, so all of it is 8-foot fencing, deer fencing.
Correct, yes. So it's consistent all the way around.
Okay. Do you have anything to say, or shall we leave it to the other board members to make some comments?
No, I don't think so. I think that was.
So
I covered everything.
I could use a little clarification just from the survey. May someone just go over and trace what?
Yeah, where is that picture on the survey?
That is.
So the picture of the front?
Yeah.
So the pool's here, so ends here, so it's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
The picture with the trees and whatnot is back this way.
Trace for me the line of the fencing.
So right here.
The whole green line.
Green, and then here, and then across the top.
So it's here.
These both sides already have the 8-foot fencing, which they have in the pink, I guess it is, or purple.
Yes.
So yes, in my fence, but the surface doors here. The trees on either side, all the way across here. There's a rendering of this side here with just a fence and a door to get into the side of the pool. And then across this side, and all of this is the reserve in front. This is 100 feet back.
So your neighbor's fencing on the right side is actually within your property line?
Yeah.
So that fencing on the property line is regular deer fencing, not solid fencing. And you're proposing wood fencing, 8 feet, correct?
No. I just, all of this will be trees. The only actual wood thing is here, and then the rest of it.
So what's wood?
There's only one rendering,
right side, I believe,
which is near the entryway of the house.
So this is all like this in the front of the house, and there's another one. This wood is here by the front door, so you can get into the pool from this side.
Okay.
So that's the only piece that will be.
That piece, and then the service gate.
And service.
Those are the only two sections.
Here, is that, that's here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I don't know why it has to be 8. Oh, the gate is how high?
Because the deck's almost 2 feet off the ground.
So it's 6-foot fencing on 2-foot gate?
Yeah, so it's only really 6 on top of it, but because the deck is about 2 feet off the ground.
And what's the height of the gate? That's a gate, right?
Wait, this one?
No, what's on the right there?
The service gate is that 6 feet?
I think that one's 6 feet. I was just going to match the wire across the top of it, so it was.
So it would end up being 8 feet.
Yeah, so they can't jump over it, but the gate itself will be 6 feet. You can attach the wire on top of it. So that gate wasn't as high.
Yeah, to me, that's the only issue is the gate height. I mean,
Yeah,
the gate.
well, not only the gate height, I was going to suggest if you might consider less, I mean, it's totally opaque. So I wondered if you would consider a more open design for that particular gate.
You mean like with slats or something with this? Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Is this a rendering or is this a photograph?
So that's a rendering.
It's a rendering, okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah, very helpful, really.
Really helpful.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I mean, it is 8 foot all around, including the rear yard. And again, that wasn't indicated, sorry, it was on your application, but not on the survey, so that was the part that confused me. But essentially, yeah, it's enclosing the majority of the property with 8-foot fencing, only because the neighbors also have the fencing.
Right, it's not, as a practical matter, property will be enclosed, but he will only be enclosing the front and back pieces.
It's way off the road.
And behind, so the area behind, in the rear yard, it abuts another reserve area.
That's why the deer are there too.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it's so far off the road, it's not.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the 8-foot fencing in general, but I understand completely the problem with deer. If this property were someplace else, I would say I wouldn't look fondly on it, especially in the front yard or the front, whatever, the front yard there. But I think that you've done a good job with the landscaping, and I think that will help meet our criteria of not having a walled-in look, and if you can give us a more transparent design for the gate. You know, as we generally ask for 50% transparency on those things, so you can see through it a little bit.
So if it was, I don't know, maybe like a lattice thing or something where you can see through, because I guess if you have boards and 50% of the boards would be pretty set apart, but maybe just something like that, is that what you mean?
Yeah, there are a bunch of ways you can accomplish that. You know, there are a number of ways that you can, yes, something, just something.
Just so I'm clear, so it's 50% transparency?
Yeah, that's what we would ask for that. Yeah, at a minimum. Yeah, at a minimum.
Some of the
Like,
gates
you
around town, you'll see a lot of options.
Right. Well, you know, as a practical matter, removing every other board would, you know, in that version of your gate would probably do the trick.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
You know,
It more open, the vista more open
Right.
is the goal.
Right.
And
You have bushes that are in the town right away.
didn't we discuss this the last time too? That weren't there some
So the really? Where are you looking?
I was just got a message from Kevin Cooper saying that he thinks that the bushes in one of the renderings are in the right of way.
Well, I think they're renderings.
Yeah, well,
right?
it's just the
Should we look at them?
This whole, I mean.
That's not a road. That's not a road. That is his driveway.
All right, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it kind of.
There are no bushes in the right of way.
No.
Yeah, they're both.
Right.
I don't think so, because the area to the right, David, is all the reserve area. And you are going to rectify the location of your driveway. So
driveway was the issue.
And my neighbor's actually doing similar with theirs, so we're actually finally correcting where we need to be, but yeah, mine's gonna get moved over.
Right, you mentioned, they've been
permit that
using
I
your
have,
driveway,
so-
Yeah, we just have to remedy that too.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Right.
okay, well, how do people feel about this?
Fine with it.
How about you, Frank?
Yeah, I mean, as we said, typically I wouldn't approve this, but you know, it's, given that there's the fencing your neighbors are like that, fine with it. Yeah, just the fence, make it more transparent.
You mean the gate?
The gate.
Yeah, the gate, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think,
So should I resubmit another picture of that or just?
yeah,
do the
you just
gate?
resubmit the design of the gate, but I think you can proceed with some of this other stuff, but we won't be able to approve the gate until we get the design.
Okay, that's fine, but I can
Okay.
make trees and kind of get
Yeah,
that
I
started.
think
Yeah,
so.
I have to say,
You okay?
originally, I was going to suggest if you would consider 6 feet on the front with the deer fencing also, just because, of course, the trees will grow, but right now I see it, right? And I understand the rendering, but I was thinking just to kind of mitigate this whole enclosure of the property, and you still will keep the deer out for the most part, I think. But if you all feel and I understand also
It's a
that
unique
the reason
property,
for it being 8 feet is so it meets the other, because of the deck of the pool. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You want to
Okay,
make a
great,
motion?
thanks. Also, I'll just resubmit the other photo of the.
All right, so I guess we won't approve specifically. If you can
and-
get something into us quickly, we'll try to get you back on fast, okay? Because it shouldn't take long the next
Okay,
time,
super.
okay?
But I can start with the other stuff when we're just pending.
I think so, yeah, I think that'd be safe, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thanks very much.
Very much, appreciate it.
Okay, you have a good evening. Okay, next up is number 6, Kevin Vuong, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-118-1-59. Good evening, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good, this is Esperanza's also.
Yes. Let me pull that out. Okay, so nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
So it's my understanding from reviewing the packet that I got that the only thing that I received was an updated survey that
Yes.
indicates where the call box
Right.
is. Nothing else has changed.
Nothing else has changed.
Okay. So just to refresh the public and our board, so you submitted a revised survey that depicts the location of a call box for a driveway gate that actually, according to your property card, has not been approved by this board. So otherwise, there are no other changes, which included, according to the recommendations that we had made in our follow-up letter, bringing in the deer fencing proposed, which is proposed at 7 feet 8 inches height, farther into the rear yard, away from the rear property line, because as you're proposing, the deer fencing is enclosing nearly 100% of the property. So could you tell me your position as to, why the fencing is, you haven't changed anything?
I haven't changed it, but I'm open to having it brought in as you suggested.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay.
I just, I guess, how much would it be, are you looking for?
Okay. Well, what are you receptive to? Because I know you said that you had planted trees.
I have.
And you want to protect those trees. Yeah. Are they all lovely salad bowls for deer, or are they sort of deer?
At this point, I'm willing to do what I need to get the approval. So I'm willing, there's a lot of other things at play with my renovation. So if it's about moving the back of the fence into the property that will get the approval, I'm willing to do what you need me to do.
So, okay. So I guess that was my, thank you for being amenable to that. I guess my confusion was that I thought you would come back with that proposal of how far in you wanted to bring your fencing.
I mean, I don't know if there's a requirement.
There's no requirement. It's really because
is 20 feet
your property.
Is 20 feet.
It's your
acceptable?
property, and it's at your discretion of, how far in you've got the pool.
Yeah.
Clearing. I don't know.
I mean, is 20
I didn't go
feet
into
an
the back of your
acceptable
property because
number?
it was all overgrown. So
Is 20 feet an acceptable number?
No. You have a huge backyard. Why don't you pull the deer fencing up closer to the pool fencing?
that was my thought.
That was the original suggestion, but I think he's got some trees planted back here somewhere. So that was sort of
the point was to
compromise
eventually
position we were hoping.
expand so that I can make use of the back of the property that's been more or less overgrown. That was the point of it.
The point of the fence?
Well, the point of expanding the fence, because the previous owner had brought it so close to the edge of the pool that it just constricts the use of the space from the house. And my thought was eventually to expand that back to grow more trees in the back, because right now it's just all it's been overgrown with weeds. So I wanted to really plant back there and claim back some of that space for usable space.
Is it just overgrown, or is it wooded? I just don't know the character of the area, and
I think, as I said when I was here last, I think the previous owner had cleared it with the intention of putting in a tennis court, which is very common in these lots. But I don't think she got around to it before she sold it. So it's just completely cleared. There's no trees at all, and it's just now overgrown with whatever grows indigenously in that part of the, excuse me, in that part of the woods. But yeah, but there aren't any trees there now.
Volunteers.
So I'm just curious, because marked on the survey, there's a clearing edge, and then this is veg. I wonder, and this is maybe a question for the planner, if there are clearing restrictions on this, because if the previous owner cleared completely, maybe that wasn't supposed to happen.
Well, I can tell you the reason why the clearing edge is shown, and I think he said this last time as well, is it's something that's now required by the town to get the permit. I had to go back to get the survey to show that, because I have to put a physical fence around the areas where it's cleared to protect it.
Oh,
so that's why that's shown.
Which is the fence right here,
So-
right? But that's what I'm clear about, is the rear yard. Whether that was meant to be fully cleared or was allowed to be fully cleared. That's my question.
So this fence here is temporary.
Is the project delineation?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. But all of this area was cleared before I bought the property.
I understand that. My question is whether that was
permissible.
No.
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to find out.
But I do know that as part of my getting the permit for this project, I do have to re-veg because it is overcleared.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's actually.
Hang on. The survey.
That's not on the survey.
Survey says clearing allowed, 21,000 so-and-so square feet. It's cleared for 30,000. So it's over cleared right now by 8,000 square feet.
Almost.
So that's my point is, since you do have to have a revegetated plan.
And I have submitted that
then
already.
The fencing can go in accordance with that.
Sure, yeah.
So that's where you need to decide.
Okay.
I mean, we can't tell you where to put your fence exactly, but we're suggesting that you not enclose your entire yard.
Okay.
Just because
That's fair.
the approved plan from Mark Abramson for revegetation?
Yes, I do.
So does that have a layout, and is it marked? That would have been helpful to include.
That would have been really helpful.
I have it. It was approved already. I could just email it or send it to someone. I have it with me now.
Yeah, well, we can't, we need it before the meeting. It's not something
Okay, I
we can
wasn't
do at
aware. No one
at
told
the
me.
meeting, yeah.
But
No,
I
if
do
you-
have it. It's been
Because that
approved
will
by
inform, where the fence will go, right? And in some
I mean,
ways.
I looked at it briefly, but the re-veg that was proposed and approved by him is actually not in this area at all. It's in this front area.
Oh. How remarkable. That just makes it even harder, doesn't it?
Because you probably see it from the street.
Okay, well, we'll just, I think we'll look at the revegetation, what?
That's, I think, pertinent for the board's consideration.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you could submit the revegetation plan, that would help us to visualize the utility of this fence and whether, generally speaking, we don't permit the whole property to be enclosed by a fence. That's
I
not,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah, that was made clear to me last time.
So we're trying to work with you on this, but I think it would help us to have that bit of information about the
absolutely.
re-veg, and
I
that
can send that in immediately.
gives us a little bit more, a little more clarity on what it'll look like after, because right now it's just a big empty space. So, and I thought you had said something. Do you have trees planted there now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I seem to remember, a wandering, the notion of a wandering fence in and around trees, because you had, from our last discussion, that.
Yeah, I think he
in the back
suggested, right?
now, there are trees planted in this section here, and the goal was to plant this section as well, but I haven't gotten there yet. But there are trees already in.
So on your property line, rather than in the back area, is the trees?
Right along the fence, yes, but on my property.
Yeah, no, I'm saying on your property line, rather than in the empty space. It's, so it's a perimeter, yeah, okay.
So would it be, we need the plan.
I feel like we need that re-veg plan to make any sense of what these.
Does that help guide the applicant?
I think
with
so.
regard to the fencing, or does he suggest his own?
Well, I think he should
fencing
suggest, if we're asking him to
Along with
reduce
that
the,
submission.
we're asking him to leave more of the property open.
Yes.
It's a 2-acre property, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, 20 feet's not going to be
It's not a huge
ideal.
contribution.
We're talking about maybe half an acre of open space at least, or headed towards an
You
acre.
mean outside of the fence?
Outside
leaving-
your pool fence, yeah, but
Outside
a
of
lot
the pool
more
fence.
open space, yeah.
Okay.
And it's hard, it's very hard to discuss the revegetation plan without having it here.
Sure,
And we
I
understand that you're saying that that's left
I
empty,
can
but
send that to you easily. I
yeah,
just wasn't
that'd be
asked
great.
for it.
No, I understand, but I think if we'd known that existed, it's not usually what we do. We don't usually need the revegetation plan to envision a fence, but because we normally do not approve fences that encompass the entire perimeter of the property. That's
I
not
understand.
where we go with that. So this will help us to work with you to get where you want to go and help us mitigate some of the impacts that we think, to the community. Okay?
One other question before you go is with regard to the driveway gate, which is not a part of this application, but what are we doing about that?
The driveway gate.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a picture of it?
From my last.
All right.
Well, you're right.
It's a solid, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, this is an application for a deer fence, and I think we've made the, unless the gate connects to the, I was going to say, okay, so if it connects to the gate, then the gate has to be approved by us too. So you've got to have it
Well, it
designed.
has to be approved by us anyway, but.
Right, but I'm saying as part of the fence application, if the gate is contiguous to the fence, then that is part of your fence application. So we need that gate does not fit the criteria for us. It has to be more transparent, as you've heard me say to the last person. So is that whole thing is a gate, or is it partly a fence?
It's a gate and a fence on the side that you see.
Okay.
So this part is stationary. This part is stationary, and then this part is stationary, and then this is the gate here.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
It's a 7-foot fence. Yeah, that needs, okay, so, but but because it's part of this fence application, David, it should come at the same time, should it not?
Ideally, yes.
Yes, okay, so we need you to give us a design for a gate that's different than this one, and then, I don't know.
So this is not allowed, is what you're telling me?
But we would probably not approve this gate, yes.
We generally do not approve completely opaque gates like
At
that.
7
That's
feet
7
6,
feet,
it's
yeah.
very, very high.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, that kind of thing.
The policy of the town code is to.
Yeah,
Can we approve a gate above 6?
Solid,
we can, but we generally, but it's, yeah.
appearance.
Yeah, siting of massive or opaque structures close to property lines and roads defeat the light and air bases for required yard setbacks imposed upon other structures. The presence of such structures diminishes the visual attributes of the town by obscuring long vistas and views of natural and man-made features basic to the town's character, including historic buildings set close to roads, and by creating a walled-in urban look.
And this has to be put into consideration because it's connected to
the fence.
And if
If
it's
it
not
were
connected to the deer fence?
We'd still
You're
have
still,
to.
you're not going to get a CO without.
Yeah, the building department's going to flag it anyway.
Right,
and
we
say-
mentioned that to you in the
and
cover
come back
letter.
to
We
us.
said, as a courtesy, by the way, the gates doesn't have approval, and you need approval. But it wasn't until just now that I realized that it was all part of the contiguous fence, which means it
Okay.
should be part
So
of your
with the-
fence
So
application.
the gate, if it's going to be this height, it also needs to be approved as a variance, right?
It won't get, like, we won't approve this.
This
If it-
board,
Like
this
the guy
board,
before me, you said if it were slatted and see-through,
yes,
that it would be something you would consider, right?
correct.
Okay, because a 4'5" fence, what does that do to impede the deer?
Well, hang on. So I think the thing you need to do is maybe go to the building department and they can at first explain the rules about the heights of the gates.
Okay.
Which is, you're allowed to build a 4-foot gate. We're allowed to approve a gate up to 6 feet.
Yard fronting the public roadway.
In a yard fronting a public roadway. So we can't approve this anyway. It's too high.
Right.
And second of all, we have to take into consideration, as Kathy explained, the views and vistas and all. So I want to make sure when you leave that that we're not going through this all again
No, I
for
would
a
prefer
third
we
time.
didn't.
So can we just summarize for the applicant what are the things to do, starting maybe with the gate? The gate needs to change.
Yeah.
It needs to
We
be
did that in our
lowered.
We
letter.
already did
Send them a
that.
letter.
We did that. It's not that that wasn't
Okay.
done. It's just that it didn't,
Okay.
So, so when you come back to us with the revegetation plan, please submit a design for the gate. It can't be bigger than 6 feet. We're likely
Taller than 6 feet.
taller, forgive me, can't be taller than 6 feet. And we request 50% opacity, if you can provide that. So that we can, so it can be, so it doesn't obstruct the vista. That's I'm reading to you from the code. We're not making this
Oh,
stuff
no,
up.
I understand. I guess I'm just, because this, I hear what you're saying, but this gate wasn't ever part of my renovation.
Mhm.
It was already,
You're not going to get your renovation approved.
I know, I'm just putting it up. It was never part of the
understand that. I
renovation.
mean-
It wasn't part of the
Right.
application.
Right.
But now it has to
I know,
be.
and it's just
Right.
like opening up this huge can of worms.
Well,
It
it's not
happens.
as big a can of worms as you might think. If you just submit it, I mean, the big can of worms, I think for you is just that you got to get a gate design that's going to fly. So I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue, but you would not get your CO anyway, because the building department is not going to approve that gate. So we're actually pushing you ahead of schedule instead of just laying off the gate and letting the building department say, oh, you've got to get ARB approval for this gate, and then come back to us in 2 months and say, oh my God, here I am again in front of this board. So we're trying to, believe it or not, we're trying to accelerate the process for you a little bit.
But why would the building department give me a permit if I have this on the property? Like, would they not have flagged that?
Certificate of occupancy.
But wouldn't they have flagged that?
Here's how the process works. You submit an application to us for a design to be approved, and then we have to go out and inspect it to see that it conforms with what we approved as an architectural resolution. And then then the building department has to.
Right. His question is about the building permit. No, they will give a building permit to a property with violations because the hope is you're going to correct the violations. The building permit is not a certificate of occupancy. They're two different things.
I understand.
A certificate of occupancy says, yes, you meet all the fire codes. Yes, you meet all the electrical codes. Yes, you meet all the town codes. Now you can get insurance for your house.
Yeah.
And it's a legally safe place to live. The building permit has nothing to do with present violations on the land. That's not a thing.
And I know every condition is different, but there's a house across from me who has a solid gate that's taller than mine.
Right. Well, they probably don't have approval for that.
Okay.
Because people put things up and they don't know.
Okay.
Like this one.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Exactly.
Did you?
I mean, this isn't.
Didn't you buy it? Didn't you, the previous owner put this gate up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's not on your
But
property
I got a
card.
C of O to buy the house. I don't know how he did that.
But it's not on your property card.
Yeah.
You have a CO, but it's not on the property card.
Right. And now that, yes.
Structure.
Date of the
Right.
CO
Okay.
may be-
We need to move this along. I'm sorry that this is confusing, but if
it's
you have
fine.
further questions, maybe call the legal department, okay?
Right.
Okay. Thanks very much. All right. So we're on number 8, which is 99 Town Line Road, Suffolk County Tax Act number 300-200-2-45. This is the Mooney Show tonight.
Oh, gee. That's me again, huh?
Yep. Okay, I see the applicants are here. Welcome.
We've been waiting patiently.
Yeah.
Yes.
We provided a response to your last letter.
Yes, yes. Okay, so yes, you have submitted a letter in response to our follow-up letter from the last time you were before us. And our planner, Dan Gross, has prepared also an evaluation of the newly submitted material. So your letter,
2 of them.
2 letters?
2 letters. One was dated.
No, I'm talking about your letter, and then there's the GT Power letter, but there's.
No, but I'm saying we submitted 2 things out. Our subsequent to our letter of June 29th, which had the generator information, we also submitted a letter on July 18th, which had the amended survey just showing that the existing generator is being relocated.
I don't have that.
I do. Oh, GT
No,
Power.
I have the GT
you're
Power.
right,
I
yeah.
don't have a new, I didn't have a new survey. In fact, I was kind
So
of
that was submitted on
dismayed
July
by that.
19th.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
I don't have anything from July 19th.
Was submitted to the Architecture Review Board or some other board? Architecture Review Board?
No, Jonathan, either Jonathan or I do the submission, so it was definitely submitted.
Okay, well, we don't have.
Remember. You didn't get it stamped by the.
No, we just submitted it, we never had a problem with it, yes. The only difference, like I said, is just, states that I think the generator is actually already shown, it says proposed relocated generator.
Right. So my question is, do we need the letter to?
To
I wouldn't
proceed?
think we
Well,
would.
the
We
only
would
thing
need-
is,
but
I
it's for
don't have that survey.
clarification.
So I don't know if you
Not
have that
having the
survey.
survey is
We
the,
don't have the survey is the problem, and that was sort of my only hiccup.
that's the
which
stumbling block,
is
right?
that
Survey
not it?
hand delivered.
It's
is that
the
the
old
old
They
one.
were
This is
electronically
April
sent as
4.
well.
Okay, all right, well,
Actually, if you can check under Jonathan Austin, he would have forwarded them.
Like, this is crazy. I don't understand.
I didn't catch that earlier.
That's
because
okay. I've had the same
Yeah, the
problem
last
myself.
submission was June 29th. So we
These were,
were
these were hand delivered then, still.
I don't know. Did you hand deliver them? Is that what you said?
It's either myself or Jonathan from our,
She doesn't remember delivering it.
no, though, it seems Jonathan did, who actually wrote the letter. There's only 2 people in my office, and
No,
Jonathan,
I understand. It's a mystery to us too. Okay.
Can we get a stamped copy from the?
no, we've never done that. I've worked with every municipality out here. I don't ask anybody to stamp it, we just can't deliver it.
So what's missing?
The new survey is missing.
There was a survey submitted in mid-July
And the only
indicating the relocation of
The
the
generator.
generator, which in the paperwork that I have from June 29, it discusses the generator and the the new location, but I don't have the survey.
But the survey shows, the survey submitted has a generator sitting in the correct location. It just doesn't show
It just doesn't say propose. If we could just,
Oh, the old survey shows it correctly, it's just not
correct.
labeled properly?
So if we can pull up the old survey, now
Let's just
I'm
use the old
remembering
survey.
now. Thank
Let's
you.
use the old survey then.
Remembering that
Okay.
now.
beside the building and the.
Okay.
So if we can
Can
pull
you
up
get
at
the old
least the old
survey,
survey.
Floristan?
Show,
There it
it
is.
hasn't
Thank you.
moved from where we
It
showed it
hasn't, yeah.
last time.
We're not putting it in a new location.
Okay.
Just a clarification, we're reusing it.
So it's only an annotation.
Yes, exactly.
Correct.
Understood.
It's still where it was.
So legally, nothing's changed.
Correct. It was
Okay.
just a clarification on which generator, if it's going to be new or reused.
Okay.
Okay. So going back to the June 29 document.
Sorry about that.
Or June 28th.
Wow.
You submitted a copy of the spec sheet for the existing generator, including its noise output, as well as a letter prepared by Gerard de Cruz of GT Power Systems that says it confirms that the existing generator meets the requirements of the noise ordinance in the town code. And then there are 3 sets of, you don't need to know 3 sets, but there is a submission of a materials or exterior material palette sheet by the architect, by you, and then elevations. So I have all of that, and I'm just going to then refer to your material and also to the evaluation from Dan, our planner, which I hope you got a copy of that. Did you receive a copy of that evaluation?
Okay.
Well, I think what she's getting at is the generator tested at a decibel limit that exceeds the permissible level of the town noise ordinance, which is 50 during the night, right? And then
No, the letter.
Maybe Dan can explain it better. I was going to let him.
what he says that it reads is above the
Can I have a copy of the letter that was the evaluation?
It was probably posted online, right? If you have a copy and you can share it.
I just wanted to read for it in a second, but.
Yeah, that's, what?
registered as.
No, we weren't provided a copy.
Right, so the engineers doesn't match with
the ordinance.
With the ordinance. No, what the engineer says is not true, is that what we're saying?
Essentially, it seems that way, yes.
Discrepancy.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So this was supposed to have been emailed to us?
It's posted online, I believe.
Do you check the,
We received the other letter in the mail and by email. Why?
by the mail, you got it by US mail?
Oh, I'm saying by email, but what I'm saying is that we've always been notified. We've never had to go online. I have a couple projects I've had pending with you guys, and we've always been, the information's always been emailed to us.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that you, what people generally do is go online once the agenda is posted and see what other, and this was not posted online? It should have been posted online. Excuse me?
Go to the website, here's planner evaluations, and it was posted there.
Do we notify applicants
Yeah,
when those are posted?
I mean, we used to do that.
Given, I was going to say the letter that we responded to, we were provided. We were told after we left.
Right, I understand. I feel, frankly, I feel like this is a sidebar. I'm sorry if it's upsetting to you, because I know that you feel like you want, I'm talking, you'll need to stop talking now. I know that you feel that you're at a disadvantage because this memo was not given to you in advance of this meeting, and I'm sorry about that, because it's not our goal to do that. But, excuse me?
It was made available.
However, it was made available to the public this is the new system, and we can talk to you about that offline. I don't think that we really need to get stuck here now on the administrative issues that have caused these lags, I would like to review your application and your project. So let's just.
Very quickly to this.
I understand that, and we're grateful for that. Let's just let Mooney get on with her, Esperanza get on with her evaluation, and we'll try to get you moving forward instead of reviewing what went wrong, okay? Thank you. Okay, Esperanza, please.
All right, so we have basically reached the conclusion, according to the planner, that with the specifications that were submitted, and even with the location, the relocation of this generator, it still won't comply with the noise ordinance. And I mean, I can certainly read exactly what it says on that front, and then we can move on to the remainder of the evaluation.
We can have our expert take a look at it.
Well, the one thing that you really need to know is that this board is not, we are not empowered to grant variances. And for the noise ordinance, it's not even part of the zoning code. So that's not something you can get a variance for. So I understand, but the way your generator is presenting now, it doesn't meet the code, and there's nothing we can do to help you with that except for you to mitigate it in such a way that it meets the requirements of the
And
code.
what our understanding is, talking to our GT Power guy, is that it does meet the code.
Yes.
I have spoken to the chief building inspector about this matter too, and we all thought this would satisfy, so we will look into it. But again, I'm not a generator expert, neither is Tim, so we will have our experts take a look in and talk with
Right,
town.
and I was just going to read that the conclusion from our planner is that you should confirm that the noise levels will be met at the property line, or sound attenuation must be provided.
Not a problem.
Right, that was all I wanted to say.
It's not a problem.
So then going back to the material sheets, we could, if you could pull those up, Dan. In essence, from our letter sent to you, the follow-up letter, where is it? Do I have it?
Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Yeah, no, they gave us what we asked for pretty much.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I was referring to it. So,
Here, that's not it.
and that was mainly, I think, because I think there was an inconsistency with like the trim color that we talked about at the last meeting. And so you've indicated, and all the elevations and the renderings indicate that it's going to be typical white. And then the siding, the shingle siding.
Yeah, I don't have it, Mooney.
Silvered red cedar shingle, white trim, brick, and lead-coated copper. And the lead-coated copper, I presume, is portions of the roofing? Is that what you're, because the picture is.
Just there's one sill of a dormer that's cut in, that would be there. The gutters and downspouts, leaders and downspout.
Otherwise.
And gutters.
Okay, otherwise it's.
There's no metal.
No.
Roofing or anything like that.
Prominent.
In terms that's prominent. That's about only where it functionally is needed, because the slope is too low, I think, in one or two dormers.
Okay. So those are the colors there. And then, so the elevations reflect the materials.
The correct materials now they do, yes. The correct color has been noted.
Typical white.
Did you find the letter?
No, I don't have it.
That's unfortunate. Okay. So I mean, I was trying to find our follow-up letter because of the phrasing there. With our last review, we discussed, I think the board was generally favorable to how the massing and the volumes presented rather on the property. And we do know that this is a parcel that is sort of a flag lot, or it's tucked in to the back, and it is adjacent to the agricultural overlay. I guess I have a rather unpopular opinion that if I understand correctly from what exists, which is a house that's going to be demolished, is about 6,500 square feet, somewhere in there, is going to increase like 2,000-3,000 square feet. I mean, so it's volumetrically, it's a much larger development.
Well, the second floor is actually decreasing. That's what we talked about last time. I think Mr. Godard mentioned how it's more rambling, so it's.
I understand the rambling. Yeah, it rambles. I know.
And
Yes.
it's about 443 square feet less than what the maximum is, but it's taking more advantage of the center of the property.
Right. I guess that's the point that I would make, is that it's nearly at the maximum. It's only roughly 400 square feet beneath the maximum permitted on this property. And the maximum roof height is 31 and 8.5 inches. So I'm only speaking for myself. Despite the fact that you won't see this from the road or anything like that, I do think that just within the context of Wainscott, and I know the sensitivity of these owners who have been married in the chapel and love Wainscott. Increasingly, we have Wainscott is being transformed into a large house hamlet, and I just find that the intensity of this development is in my opinion too much.
Well, if you do look, remember we also own 30, which is the small house.
Well, it's a 5,000 square foot house.
It's in keeping with the houses that are along that road. It's actually one of the smaller ones, and this is set behind it. The new proposed house is going to be a couple feet shorter than what's there. So actually, the current house, I think we all joked about last, it looks like it should be in Key West. I mean, it's a big box, as opposed to this one being a little more rambling and spread out. And I think Tim could speak to it more, but more in keeping with the vernacular of Wainscott.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand your concern about big houses. We all have those concerns. Even though it rambles, it will look much more like it would have been a conglomeration of Wainscott buildings that, as opposed to a massive block. And so there's much less mass on the second floor. I mean, the second floor as existing is 5,300 square feet and ours is 3,700 square feet up at that height. So it's a much lower rambling house, which I think has just a more pleasing.
Could we go over the renderings again, too?
Sure. Yeah.
Why don't you walk through the renderings? This is the...
Right.
I guess my view of Wainscott is more bucolic and agrarian, which it's, as I said, increasingly not so.
Right. Absolutely.
And the current property does consist of like this large box house with a couple of outbuildings, which are being removed.
Right.
So that's what this is more in the center.
So there's 1,200 square feet of accessory buildings. So and we have 379 square feet of accessory. So there's also an offset there with what's covering, because of codes, et cetera, sort of any garages get, it all gets connected, as it were, so that it's a different. That's what's there now. It encourages more of that than the codes seem to encourage more continuity of the buildings.
You want to go to the next building?
Yeah.
The code also encourages a larger footprint than probably most people need. So.
Right.
You think he's going
There it is. There's the flag on Main Street up there.
And this is,
right?
I mean, not that it matters, but there is existing well-vegetated, mature vegetation around the perimeter of the property.
Well, yes, between us and the agricultural, land, I mean, huge trees have been put in. I mean, they're 40, 50 feet tall. So we have no even visual anymore of anything agricultural around this property.
I understand.
Not by us.
Trees come and go too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
Houses do, because this one's leaving too.
Right,
so.
right.
Okay, does anybody else have any
open it up to
questions? Anybody want to ask any questions of Esperanza or the applicants?
I don't have any questions about or comments about the architecture that I've already expressed. So,
how about you, Tip?
I'm just trying to understand what's there now and what the proposal is Frank was showing me. I don't have a problem with the design of the new house. It's certainly better than the existing property. And if you're not going to be able to see it,
Had you seen this?
I've never seen this. It must have been when I was away.
Yeah, you weren't here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, Frank brought it up on Google.
Can you bring up the existing photos or whatever? I know that was part of the original application, Dan, just for
Those are
Chip's
the ones
benefit, because he hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah, so this is the driveway facing out toward the street.
You can
To
scroll
your
through
point
if you
about
would.
how
Everyone
shielded this is.
has walled us off in this. I mean,
That's everyone's dream.
well,
Here we go.
not my
This is
my
what's there
client
now?
is not.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And this is being
Oh,
demolished?
Yes, this is being demolished, yeah.
Right.
Was that the existing generator?
Yes, that's the
With that
one that
sound
will be,
attenuation?
that will be relocated, the same one, yeah.
The arborvitae?
There it is.
It's bare?
This is the rear of the house.
Hmm.
So this faces south.
You can keep
First
going.
picture showed you the two accessory structures.
These are the accessory structures, yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're proposing is sort of like a North Shore Long Island country estate. I mean, it's vaguely French in feeling.
Yeah.
And these.
Oh, it's got a bosque.
These bosques are existing and they're being kept, as is the pool in those locations.
It's what?
The bosque is to remain? I thought it was new.
No.
It's existing.
Sorry, this is a picture of
Don't drain.
That's just a picture to show the condition of the
Yeah,
house.
it needs, yeah.
It's only 20 years old.
Exactly.
It's really shocking.
It's very, very
Jeffrey Collet house.
disappointing.
Oh, boy.
There's another one just like it?
Yes,
Or
there's
is it-
another one over on Hedges or Parsonage.
Right, and both of them were white. When I came on and started working with this client many years ago, I said, please, can we get rid of the white?
Oh, this was white originally, so it looked like
I
a
put the
plantation?
shingles on it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I found the white columned house in the Hamptons a little embarrassing.
Okay. So this is the existing and now it's the proposed.
That gives you
Okay.
the- So, yeah, I had forgotten that you weren't here.
Excuse me. So,
Do you want to look at the renderings of the proposed again, or?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. I think you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, well, I just want to mention as a general principle that I agree with our vice chair about the estatification of Wainscott. But I see this as an exception in terms of this property. I think you've done a nice job. I mean, I really like the design. I like what you've done with it. I think that it's very thoughtful. I think the materials are, properly reflect, what we're looking for. As Chip points out, it does have a little French flavor to it, but I think it's nice. I wish you could have brought it down in size a little bit, just as a tip of the hat to the request we made in the letter to you, but I see that hasn't happened. And so we'll just need to resolve the issue with the generator. And I don't know, did you have another question?
Well, it's a process question. I'm curious, what is the acceptable documentation? What is the documentation that we accept for conformance of a generator? Is it from a mechanical engineer? Is it a
The
spec sheet?
decibel reading that they are saying that it reads at exceeds the town code limit. That just doesn't.
Usually comes with the specs of the equipment.
Yeah, they're in the
Okay,
packet.
who is saying that? Our own review?
What they submitted.
They submitted something that's in excess of the town code, the specs of the machine.
Okay, so you submitted the specs,
What I was gonna
Which is
say
typical.
right?
What our engineer has submitted, he highlighted, and he believes, as GT Systems, and they do work in East Hampton all the time, that it conforms. He told us he looked at it conforms. He highlighted the things that conform about it. I talked to Joe Palermo about it, the chief building inspector, and he said he's been having this difficulty apparently with a couple other projects too. And to be honest, he told me he's not sure what exactly the town accept. So I'm gonna have my guy come and meet with Joe directly and see how we can satisfy everybody, because my expert is saying he does conform. He believes what he submitted highlights what we're using, that we do conform. Again, not in either one of our purviews, so we'll get them set up.
About this, I also do the zoning prosecutions now, too, and I think he had thrown around the idea of if there was a way to kind of covenant that they wouldn't use a generator at night, which I don't think is, it's like a non-starter. Because the nighttime noise limitation is so low. So under that theory, it would potentially comply if you want to never use it at night, but that's.
But I think you should just try to sound attenuate it. I think that's your best route right now. Instead of trying to get them to work with Joe and all the rest, just bring it down so that it complies with the
Green
code.
wall, they could have fencing with sound attenuation. To me, it seems to make sense to be the path. In all honesty, no one's trying to pull the wool over anyone. I just read the letter and talked to the engineer, and they said, no, it complies. So I was like, great.
Right.
You know?
I wonder, I just don't want us to get into a situation where the cut sheet is saying one thing and we're saying wait, but we're getting a letter from a mechanical engineer saying it's compliant. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page of how, and also I don't think we should get, I just want to know the process of how, I don't want to get
Generally,
bogged
we
down
have a sound engineer. Generally, we advise clients to hire a sound engineer to create a plan for attenuating the noise from the machine so that it can be brought down.
Okay.
So I don't know if a mechanical engineer, fits that criteria. In my view, it probably doesn't, but I don't know enough about what mechanical engineers do in comparison to a sound engineer. But I think at this point, it's been identified as being in excess of our evening code, and it needs to be addressed, that's all.
And it's something that I believe that the building department would say whether or not it meets with code or whether or not we have to go for a variance. So I don't think
you cannot get a variance from this part of the code. This is what I'm saying to you. The noise code does not offer a variance. It's not even part of the zoning code.
Right.
All right,
So
then I don't mean variance that whether it complies or not.
it either complies or it doesn't. If it doesn't comply, you sound attenuated until it does comply. That's all. Or you remove the generator.
Yep.
Those are the options. Make it compliant or eliminate it.
And we will talk with the building department what is going to comply.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much.
Just so we're just waiting, you're just waiting for that. We get that settled with the building department, we should be set for the next meeting?
I don't think you need to consult the building department. I think you need to consult an engineer and get the sound attenuated so that it meets the code. Your specs do not meet the code.
The letter or whatever they submitted, and then we'll work.
Right, we have done, and the advice we're getting is that it does not meet the code.
You'll receive a copy of that evaluation also, so that should.
So also for the benefit of the applicant, they're going to come back with this. I'm happy to look at it. Does the board have any additional comments about the architecture that may impede an approval of this?
I don't feel we do. I think do you have something about the architecture? I think generally speaking, I know S. Browns would like to see the massing reduced. I would too, but I don't think that's in the cards. And I would like to move it along. I think it's a nice design. But right now, we can't do anything until the sound attenuation is complete, or they eliminate the generator from the application.
Right. And is that something we're going to do here back in person this way, or is it I'm happy either way.
I mean, I don't know. Can we give them a conditioned approval? I just don't. Okay. I mean, we approve it on the condition that the sound attenuation for the generator meets the code, or that the generator is eliminated. So
we would be open to that.
Eliminating the generator?
No, either one, that we have, either you get rid of it or you make it comply.
No, we've got to make it comply.
We have to make it comply.
It's.
Well, could they meet with David and show the letter?
I'm just saying, as opposed to bogging down your schedule again with another.
100%. I was hoping to move it along tonight, but the generator is a sticking point.
The building department should be taken from the property line, right? So what the specifications that the manufacturer provides just say X number of feet, and oftentimes that's not the same distance as the property line is. So what, is in the specs from the manufacturer, that might be the right decibel reading, but it might, it's still not sufficient because it's not the right distance, the specific drops.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean, if it were contained within the property more, that might work, if it was pushed back in. I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm saying it might meet the code in that way, but I think you should just try. I mean, I think
There's got to be a way to
there's got to be a way to
attenuate
make,
the sound.
there's so many sound attenuation options for you, and I think your client would like not to hear it. No one wants to
No
hear
one
those
wants to hear
things. So find a way to attenuate it. It would, I mean, you're going to such great lengths here. This is not this piece is not like a linchpin concept. It should really be an easy thing for you to manage.
No, we're not concerned. We'll
Yeah.
get it worked out. All
right.
We have somebody working on it.
Right, so do we want to, I mean, I think it would be in our best interest to move this along. I think it's going to pass, yeah. So do you want to make a motion, or do you want?
Yeah, if we think it's all complete, then I'll do
Yeah.
that. Okay. So I will make a motion to approve. I haven't done this in a while. I will make a motion to approve the application as submitted.
On condition that
On condition that the generator, that the applicant find the proper sound attenuation for the generator in order to meet the noise ordinance.
Perfect. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I oppose.
She opposes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, fine residents, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-189-5-5. Is Karen Hogue here? I see Karen Hogue. And this is the fine residence. Okay, Frank, this is yours.
Okay, this is 386 Further Lane. This is an application for a new residence on a 2-acre flag lot off of Further Lane in Amagansett, between Further Lane and the ocean. This application falls within our purview because it is adjacent to, but not within, the agricultural overlay district. We reviewed this application back in May and asked the applicant to provide more clarification on the following: exterior lighting, the height of the stone skirt, and the specifications on the generator. Yeah, that's the existing conditions. It might help while I'm reading this. Yeah. Okay, so it might help to go through, revisit the so refresh everyone's memory, the architectural drawings, the 2 PDFs. One is the architectural drawings. Let me see if I can't find the file name. Submittal package 1, I think. Yeah.
Is that noise?
Yeah. Submittal package 1, page, it's like page 8-A-08. Okay. So currently there's an existing private dwelling, pool house, pool, and some small accessory structures on the property. These would be demolished as part of the proposed construction. The applicant is requesting approval from this board for a new single-family residence with a pool house and pool. This is what our own evaluation says about, I'll read to you about, it's a good summary. Total lot and lot coverage requirements. As proposed, the property complies with permitted lot and coverage requirements. Lot coverage proposed is 8,300 square feet with a maximum of 8,399. So that's, and while total lot coverage is proposed at 20,925 with a maximum of 29,399. Compared to existing conditions, lot coverage is being increased by approximately 753 square feet. Total lot coverage is being slightly reduced by approximately 108 square feet. Height. According to the most recently submitted elevations, the proposed single-family residence at 28 feet is lower than the existing single-family residential structure, approximately 32 feet 6 inches, and meets the 32 feet maximum permitted height of gabled roofs. Other portions of the family residence of the proposed 24 feet flat roof structure, that's the main living part of the residence, which is 1 feet less than the 25 feet maximum. GFA, gross floor area. The proposed property, the single is so the existing is this proposed residence is approximately 450 square feet lower than that's what's allowed by maximum regulations, which is max is 9945, proposed is 9496. Pool house is relatively small at 526 square feet, 774 feet less than the 600 square feet allowable. So in terms of lighting, we have two lighting. There's building lighting and there's landscape lighting. Both have been deemed to comply. So in our letter to the applicant, we asked for clarification on, so a detailed exterior lighting plan, which we have received, the dimension of the stone skirt, which I want to review, and specifications on the generator noise output. I am not sure, did we receive that?
There's no generator proposed.
So it's been removed from the scope?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's, so the only two things, though we didn't approve the architecture and the scale and massing of this, the only things that we deemed not complete with the application was the lighting plan and the stone skirt. Is there anything you want to add?
No, that pretty much sums it up. We
Okay.
submitted the revised plans, the lighting plans, as well as the dimensions that you asked for last time regarding the stone pavers. So if there's any questions, the architect, Adam Miller, is here to answer, as well as the homeowner, Kristen Fine.
It was a minor question about the elevation, the dimension of the stone skirt. Is it in one of the drawings? Like, did you resubmit that? Is it?
Yes, it is in the new drawings, the dimensions.
Apologies that I didn't come across it.
Since there were two PDFs, the PDF that you pulled up first is the
submittal package 2.
Where's the stone skirt?
Here.
It's dated 06.
Is this existing? This is 296 proposed.
Let's just see here. Is there anything? I mean, I see it, the lighting package and lighting cut sheets.
Excuse me.
There are two submittal packages. I mean, I have the elevation. What is oh, wait a minute. It looks like the finished floor of the library? No. Is that the stone skirt? Is the stone skirt at the same elevation of the finished floor of the library?
It is, yes.
Okay, then you've indicated 37 feet, so it's 2 feet above grade.
30 inches, yes, 2.5 feet above grade.
Oh, ground LVL, okay. So it's 2.5 feet above grade. Okay. Maybe let's pull up there were a bunch of drawings as part of this application. Do other members of the board want to see the other drawings? Go through all of them?
Other drawings meaning?
Meaning there are two drawing packages that were submitted. Submittal package 1, submittal package 2, and the lighting package. So there are actually 3 drawing PDFs.
And what are the differences between?
Let's just go through them. So what's on there right now? Which one is that?
This is the most recent one. So this is
okay. So
package.
Can you go through that one again?
Yeah.
So those are the elevations.
Go through from the start.
Okay.
Do you want me to mention the adjustments as you flip through?
So if something has changed architecturally, can you point that out?
Since the last.
This is not the right survey.
At this page, there was one in the original ARB evaluation letter. There was a mentioning about the pool deck being basically outside of the pool/pool deck setback. After meeting with the building department, that area was removed and changed to pavers.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Aside from that, no adjustments to the site plan.
Okay.
So the pool house remains in the same location, right at the side yard setback? You've just changed the,
We just changed
Decking?
the, basically the pool deck area was wrapping around the side, which was encroaching in the pool setback. And the pool house is set back from the accessory structure setback. So we're not
You're not on the limit.
We don't need any variances.
You're not on the limit. Okay, keep going. Yeah, I saw that. Keep going. Yeah, site plan. Going. Yeah, okay, so lighting cut sheets.
Yes, so I think previously some of the landscape lighting needed more clarification to meet the dark sky compliance and Kelvin amounts, which we've updated.
Okay, keep going, yeah. These are the exterior lightings. Go back, I mean, I'm not sure if we're reviewing tree lighting. There are limitations on tree lighting per the code. Kathy, is this something we're tasked with, see the tree lights? Or is this something for the building department in terms of compliance?
Or planning. I think that it falls, well, it's lighting, so I think it falls within our purview. David, do you have something?
Our memo states that the site plan and the site lighting complies.
Right, and I'm pretty sure this tree lighting does comply also, but I think we need to review it. I think, David, is that your understanding?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Tree lighting is light shining down from trees?
Yeah.
Light shining up.
Like the trees, yeah.
Down.
Down light, yeah. I mean, there's some lights that shine up, but these. Pardon me?
There's a very large weeping beach, and that's where it's just kind of amazing. And so we don't want to light the whole tree. It's just little bits of light to actually enhance the tree. That's it.
Is it visible from outside the property line?
Yeah.
I don't think it will be.
yeah, well, generally, I'm not in favor of tree lighting.
Yeah, me neither.
Can't see it though.
I know, I'm just
But if it
flora and
complies,
fauna.
What are we seeing, Frank?
If it's permitted,
Yeah,
it's fine. Okay.
Yeah, she cannot be in favor of it as a concept. She can just say that. That's okay.
Well, we can't not approve.
Oh, and no one said we're denying it.
Okay,
She
we
just said she doesn't like it, and that's
I
okay.
understand, but she's on board, but I'm saying, can the board,
What are you trying to
my
say?
question is, can the board deny an application based on?
no,
No,
tree lighting?
no,
Okay.
because the tree lighting is permitted.
right.
We can never deny an application.
We can
on
encourage
things
an
that are
applicant
permitted,
to,
and that's not what we're suggesting.
Okay. So keep going. Somewhere in this package, there's a lighting plan, a site plan.
Yes. It is A
I don't have
2.6.
the right survey.
So all that lighting was
Survey we were
originally
looking at
depicted
was
on the exterior
kind of
elevations, so that was basically just transferred to a new exterior lighting.
Keep going, it's a plan.
It's one more sheet. There we go.
Okay.
And then we have the specifications following.
So there's sconces on the building, right?
Yes.
So these are the sconces.
Yes, there are two different fixtures. There's sconces and then recessed downlights.
It's in the fine pack.
I mean, overall, I'm fine with the application. As I said, this is a flag lot deep off of Further Lane. It's well screened from other properties. It's not in an ag overlay. It's adjacent to an ag overlay.
Okay.
I think really massing and scale is not that different from what's there. Though there is the massing of the library, but again, listen, it's large, but I don't find any reason to deny this.
Right, well, I don't think we're at the, we rarely deny applications. We usually just ask people to come back with a modification if we have a problem with it. So I guess I just had a question about the library height, and the height of that ceiling, does that contribute, does that make it because there's an office in part of it, does that contribute to the gross floor area as a second floor? I mean, that's my question.
So that's basically kind of what justified the height that we had to go to, because we have a 2-story condition in a portion of that library.
What it is, it's the finished floor of the library is 30 inches above grade, which allows them to get
that's the difference. I see.
A single height.
Yeah.
And they pack the ceiling down.
So it goes up.
So
okay.
there is massing of that library.
And I was basically working with the minimum pitch slope to meet that.
But that doesn't contribute to the GFA. Okay, I get it.
Right. So it meets GFA, just the massing lies there.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Frank or the applicant?
I'm fine with it.
How about you, Esperanza?
I just, again, the unpopular opinion. I think it's a max out of a property.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I agree with that, but I don't know, again, we can't really deny it. So we've asked them to downsize and they haven't done. All right, Frank, do you want to make a motion?
Good. I make a motion to approve the application as submitted.
And I want to note that there's no generator proposed.
With it noted that there is no generator on the application anymore.
Okay. All right. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mooney?
Opposed?
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Mooney, yes. Esperanza opposed it. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye now. All right. Now we're up to issuance of. Excuse me?
Did you vote?
I'm voting for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
No, if I had voted against it, it wouldn't have passed. It would have gone down. No, I didn't say anything, but the assumption is if I don't, then I'm in favor of it. Okay, issue number 10. Issuance of certificates of occupancy, Montauk Clothing Company modifications of County Tax Map numbers 300-49-6-7. This is mine. The fee was waived on this because this is for an affordable housing unit. It was an apartment over a store in Montauk over the Sunset Surf Shack. The board approved a modification to this on May 18th of 2020 to have a modular unit placed on there, which they seem to have done. It looks fine. I mean, I could walk up the front stairs. If you could just go back to the, there's a picture of the stairs that access the deck. Yeah. So that's the north elevation, and that's the access to the building. It's up a couple floor, it's several. It's got to be two stories, I would say, of stairwell. And then there's a deck that wraps around the outside. You could advance through the photos now, please, Dan. And you can see in the rear, there's a little deck. There's a handrail there out back. Keep going. Keep going, please. And that's around the front. That's the south side. I couldn't get in there to see any further, but it seems to be in keeping with the proposal. So I think it's ready to go for CO. Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms to the ARB approval, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, passed and carried. Next is 92 South Euclid Avenue. This is a new build, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-49-1-15. This is for a certificate of occupancy. Also, this came before us a couple of times for modifications. It's sort of across the street from Pete's Potting Shed out there. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this particular part of town, but anyway, the building came out well. I measured it. It seems to be within the proposed square footage, and you could scroll through the photos, Dan, and there are two porches as required, and the one up top, the bottom is going to be retail space, and the top an apartment. So it's presently empty, but it looks great. I think it came out really nice. I think it's a good example of a retail, and that's the garbage enclosure that also is housing their propane gas. There'll be a small picture of there's where the garbage cans will go. Keep going, because when I saw those, I was like, wait a minute. So there was a fence here along the east side, and I wasn't clear on that, but Dan helped me clarify that belongs to the building next door, which is also brand new. So I think they met all the criteria. Does anybody have any questions?
Did you find out what this unit is on this?
I didn't, no. It's depicted on the survey, but I'm assuming it's a condenser of some kind. Okay, so I would like to make a motion to instruct staff to notify the building department this applicant has satisfied the conditions and substantially conforms to the ARB approval, and a certificate of occupancy can be issued. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's it, passed and carried. All right, well, thanks, everybody. Resolutions, forgive me, thank you for reminding me. We have 3 resolutions that we're signing this evening. 3 Mall Harbor Housing Modification, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-122-7-19 and 20. Madison IT Group, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-172-6-3. And Beer and Smoke, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-197-2-11.1. Did everybody get a chance to sign those?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
great.
I didn't approve this. Well,
You
I'm
voted
not.
against it?
I voted, so what do I say? Abstain? Just
still
leave it
sign it.
blank?
You can still sign it. You still sign it. Well, it
No,
doesn't really.
no, you don't sign it.
Well, then Diane shouldn't sign either.
See, I thought Diane did not approve
Which
this.
resolution?
It's
Voted
Beer and
against it.
Smoke.
I think she did.
No, there were 2 votes against it.
Oh, were there?
Yep, it was Diane and Frank voted against it, and so they should not sign. So she mistakenly signed that. Well, she was in a hurry, so, okay. Beer and Smoke.
Historically, though, we signed everyone, whether we voted yes or no.
I don't know. I've never, none of this is something that, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Second.
So, no, I'm asking for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, and second, Chip, and off we go. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, LTV. Thanks, planning staff. Thank you.